Okay. Are we still going to do that joke where we keep in the audio sync?
I mean, do you want to? Would you like to?
3, 2, 1. Did you even clap?
Yeah.
Because I didn't hear it at all. I got a little worried that I
I
just
mean,
clapped by
do you
myself,
want
and
do you
then
want
it's
to do
going to be
it? Do you want
like,
to do it again?
no, I like to imagine just 10 minutes down the line, you're just going to clap again to fuck with me.
It's going to be like episode 50. I just make you clap like an idiot.
Like an idiot.
Corey,
No,
why
you
are you
should. You know,
clapping?
you know what you need to do? You need to isolate that so I'm the only person clapping.
I like clip it and I just overlap it so it's just like a buzz throughout the entire episode.
It's just an echo.
Yeah.
Like, you can faintly hear it. And well, regardless, welcome to the Pixel Venture podcast. I am Corey,
I'm Jake.
and for the next 30 to 40 minutes, you're stuck with us.
Yeah.
So, how was your week, Jake?
Good.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. This is the end of the episode. We're done with the fucking season. This is it. There's nothing better. There's nothing's going to happen.
What do
Did
you mean? We
think
had
it's
our
gonna get
season
better than
finale
this? Hell
last
no, it's not going to
episode.
happen. Yeah, somehow we got funded again. I don't understand. It's just fucking.
There's no funding.
I was really close to deep throating my mic there.
I know
I'm
you
glad
were.
that I didn't.
You know, that would have been impressive. You have a blue Yeti.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of girth to it.
How about we don't? We don't do that.
Why
No.
not?
Because
I'm sure your mom will be proud.
just shut up. I already know that I'm handsome, alright?
Thank
I don't
you.
need anything else. So, do you want to talk about why your week was good? I swear to God, if you say not really.
Well, I go to a film school in Boston, and I just got I got emailed back, and I'll be working on a short film this semester, and that'll be cool.
Yeah. You were talking to me earlier about it. It's like a Lovecraftian short.
Yeah, it's based off of H.P. Lovecraft's short story, The Music of Eric Zahn. I know nothing about it because I've never read it, but I've generally been interested in Lovecraftian stuff, so I think it'll be pretty cool.
Lovecraftian is the stuff with Cthulhu, right?
Yeah, Cthulhu and like in general, to my knowledge, it's like a lot of like I actually don't really know how to like explain it.
Wouldn't it be like beasts of destruction and stuff? Because from what I heard, it's like really cruel old gods and stuff like that, like
Yeah,
mythology.
yeah, it's about like these old gods and like they're like not supposed to make sense. They're kind of like I don't know if they're like interdimensional or like you know they're more than just like the three dimensions they're like we're limited to, but like I remember like a big part of a lot of the old gods is like just looking at them is supposed to like make people go insane because they can't comprehend them.
Well, it's good that we have a bunch of drawings of them, isn't it?
Well, you see, the drawings are just our interpretations of something we cannot understand the full scale of.
You know what this reminds me of?
What?
Jake, do I have your permission to rant about Bird Box?
Oh, sure. Yes, you do.
So, for anyone who hasn't watched it yet, which I'd be surprised seeing how over a third of users of Netflix have watched this because of the ad campaign they had, Bird Box is and I put in very heavy air quotes, horror film that's supposed to have these creatures that when you look at them, they embody your worst fear and it drives you to kill yourself. A lot of people like this movie. They say that there's like a deeper sort of story about like race and just, you know, love thy neighbor and things like that. I see it as a dumpster fire that just so happens to be bedazzled. And so people are like, ooh, at least it's shiny. I hate this movie so much.
Yes, you do.
I've gone on this rant before with you, Jake, but there's no likable characters. Sandra Bullock's character is a jerk, and by the end of the movie, she's a jerk with two kids. Every other character is unlikable. Machine Gun Kelly has no point to be in the movie. He plays himself. He hits on this cop character, they end up having sex or whatever, and then they run away. And there is no point for those characters at all. Like, did half of the cast just like need to get lunch, and on their way home they saw the set, like all everything up, and the director's just like, you record with us, please. Well, you'll be able to get in and out after this, I promise. Like, oh man, and just all the interactions are so forced, and I don't believe any of the relationships in it. And what I learned actually later, after like watching it and reading some articles about it, you were supposed to be able to see the monsters at one point, and they had all the like practical effect makeup and everything done for it, and it looked so cool. But they were like, oh no, it'd be more powerful if you never see it. Which, I mean, I get that. For some movies that really works. But for this, I feel like it would have been great to see like exactly what Sandra Bullock's character fears, which it's kind of emphasized through the story, which is like being a mother. And how like the monster originally was going to have a distorted face of like a baby when it was chasing after her, and it's like, it would have been so cool. And then they were like, no, let's try to ham-fist this subplot that has no reason to be in this movie and have an ending that ties everything in a neat little bow and doesn't logically make sense why half of the characters, like, oh man, it just, that movie gives me a headache, dude.
Yeah.
And you said you haven't watched it yet.
I have not.
Right? Keep it that way. Because, like, okay. I'm not going to hate on anyone who really enjoys this movie. Like, if you see something in this that I don't, that's great. Like, a lot of people like the Bird Box challenge that came from this, where you have to do things blindfolded. But then there's all of, like, the issues where there's, like, YouTubers doing crazy things, like driving with the blindfold on and, like, doing really dangerous stuff, and it actually results in like injuries and everything. And as long as you're having fun with it and not like endangering your life, anyone else's life, go for it, have fun, do whatever the heck you want. But like, personally for me, this is not a movie for me. Like, I'll put it this way, the first few minutes of the movie were hilarious to me, because it's like, it just goes from, okay, really slow, developing Sandra Bullock's character, and then this woman starts bashing her head against a glass window. And it's like, that's a bit out of place. And then you go outside, and there's fire and explosions, and people throwing themselves in front of cars, and, like, getting into cars that are burning, and it's just like... It goes from 0 to 100, then back to 0, and then kind of steadily stays at 20 for a long time, and then it goes back down to 0, because it gets to the point where a lot of the scares in heavy air quotes, are really predictable and just, in a lot of ways, sloppy. But, again, this is just me. Like, you could watch the movie and you could love it. Or maybe you already watched it and you really enjoy it, but that, you know, that's fine. I just don't...
Well, that's not you.
Yeah, I just don't personally see it, like, as a good film.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? That's actually kind of an interesting question. Since I already kind of went on my rant, what's a film that you really don't like that a lot of people seem to jump on?
I don't know, because like a lot of films that I watch, like I generally go into them like knowing that they'll be at least like decent. Um, I think like the closest example I could think of is probably like I really wasn't a fan of like Black Panther.
Mm,
Um, like I feel like it was all right, and it had like the Marvel quality that you've kind of like come to expect by now with like the fidelity and everything.
yeah.
Um, and like I thought some of the characters were cool and interesting, but like I I don't know. Like I'm assuming it's okay to like spoil it by now. Like either enough people
Um,
who've watched it or like the people who haven't like don't care.
yeah, I feel like at this point it could be, but if not, then spoilers for Black Panther.
Yeah. Like I'm sorry, he should have died when he like failed to win that like one fight.
Yep.
Like like that one thing, it's like it's okay if you kept him alive for like the rest of the story, but like don't have him stabbed and then like falling off of a waterfall and then freezing and then like say that like he magically survived because you buried him in snow.
I never freeze.
And
Like,
like that kind of unnerved me. um I thought the story of what was it, his brother? Was his brother his cousin?
are you talking about Warmonger, the
Yeah.
character that Michael B. Jordan did?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
thought he was really well written.
I thought he was a way more interesting character than Black Panther was. Like if Black Panther had his backstory instead, it would have been a much better film.
Because like the movie, if I remember correctly, it opens on like Warmonger's like origin story, right?
Yeah. Well, it opens up on um
It's like
I think
Warmonger's uncle getting killed by like Black Panther's dad.
yeah. Yeah, it was that. Like it showed like his backstory, but it was mostly about like his like most like his father being killed by the Black Panther, which was the current Black Panther's dad or something like that.
Yeah,
And like I thought that would have been way more interesting to like see his journey like to Wakanda and then like reclaiming the throne and things like that or the title or whatever.
yeah.
Um
Every scene with Michael B. Jordan, I loved. Like, you remember the scene where they were in the museum?
mhm.
Yeah,
Oh
like
yeah, I loved that scene.
just he had so much fun with his character. You could tell that he really like put it all. And not to say that people didn't try with that film, but like as far as the script went, you could tell that a lot of the writers wanted to make him like a bad guy where you could understand where he's coming from. And he was having fun with it too.
Yeah. But like
So like
speaking of the writing, I I feel like it was just a little bit too like I don't even know what to call it. Like I think you might know what I'm talking about. Like when they made the quote about when what's his name? What was it like Martin Freeman, his character? Um, when he like got injured and was taken to like Wakanda to get healed, and he was called like a colonizer or something.
wait, who? I'm sorry, which actor did you say?
The uh Bilbo Baggins, his character.
Oh, right.
Like he was called like a colonizer or something. Like it felt very. They almost made it like too racy, in my opinion.
And that's also one thing that I feel like with this film because like I will not say that's a bad film because I feel like it does a lot of things well.
Yeah,
Um, but there are like we've already talked about little details that keep me from being like, oh, this movie's incredible. Like a lot of people are really all over this, and the thing is that I feel like it's mainly because when it comes down to it, this movie is a lot about like race is like is an underlying tone that's throughout the whole thing,
yeah.
and it's I'm not saying that films can't be about that. Like I mean,
Hmm.
if you remember that Disney movie Color of Friendship, like that did a really good job with covering actually like race type stuff. And that's like a strictly a kids movie because that was a Disney Channel original film. But
Yeah.
like,
But I feel like they didn't do it very like elegantly, I guess you could say. Like they're
hmm
just very like open about it. And I remember it was that like that colonizer line that really got to me because it's like like I get that it was a big thing and it was an issue like in other parts of Africa, but like how did that affect the Wakandans? They have like a super successful society like on their own. like
yeah,
like why are they the ones commenting on it?
because I don't know. It's they wanted to have like they wanted to have the film have a deeper meaning, and that's I feel like that's a problem with a lot of films. Actually, is that they take films which are supposed to be somewhat simplistic, as far as like not to say again. Wow, I keep on like having to defend stuff, but like not to say that superhero movies are inherently simple. You can have very complex like character arcs and just like franchises and things like that. And Marvel and DC have proven to be able to do that. But like I feel like one big thing that's kind of tying them down is they feel like they have to force an idea or force
Yeah.
like a lesson.
Or like
Whereas
force
like
the activism in it.
yeah, when really it should just be, hey, this is it's going down. We gotta go save the world or universe or etc. And just have like the fight scenes have character interactions and things like that. And yes, you can have lessons, yes, you can have things like that, but you don't need to like spoon feed me it. Like
Like
have it be something
you can have like the underlying tones. You don't have to like just straight up say like haha white man bad.
yeah,
Like just
because
like make it more subtle. Make it like a deeper thing than just like straight up saying it and like just voicing it.
the audience is a lot smarter than Hollywood likes to believe.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing is that they that's why like a lot of films that people regard as classics and like really like good pieces of like cinema is because I don't know. They don't really okay. I'm gonna try to reform my thought. Is it okay if I clap?
Uh, sure.
I like cut this thing. One of the big things with classic cinema was that a lot of those films didn't like put everything in front of you and give you all of the details. It they made you think. That's why like people still consider like Citizen Kane like a really good film because they didn't tell you all of the answers and like throughout the film you are like you're creating your own answers and your own it's like comparing a game of let's see classic board games comparing a game of Candyland to a game like Battleship. With Battleship you're constantly guessing and strategizing based on like whether or not you hit the other person's ship or you miss and you're trying to figure out like on the grid where they could roughly be. Meanwhile with Candyland you pick up a card, you move to that space. It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of movies follow that Candyland formula of just, hey, here's the information. We already know it. Now you know it. Now there's no mystery. Enjoy this guy punching this guy in the face for 10 minutes.
Yeah. And like kind of going back to like Black Panther a little bit. Another thing that kind of annoyed me was you know how I said it would be cool if like the Black Panther had like what was his name Warmonger
Yeah.
had his backstory instead.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like how after Warmonger became the Black Panther like legitimately like it's just followed by like a rebellion
Yeah.
because it's like I thought that like tradition and like honor and things like that were important to them. That like as soon as the person they don't like wins, it's like no, forget about that. We're just gonna like ride and rebel against them. It's like that just felt like really out of character and just kind of like bad writing.
I feel like the only thing I can really compare that to would be like political stuff.
Yeah, honestly,
But
it just felt like a commentary on like Trump becoming president at that point. because like that was around like what was going on.
Yeah, and personally, I don't really want to get into politics with this podcast, and I don't really like talking about politics too much in general.
Yeah, no.
But you can definitely you can see that maybe it's not like the intention behind it, but it definitely is a byproduct of like the way that the film was portrayed.
Yeah. Um
But aside from, oh, go ahead.
oh
Sorry.
no, that was basically it. Like just kind of like summarize my points like because like I'm personally like a fan of Marvel movies. I think they're able to make films of like good quality in my opinion. Um so like as I was watching it like I was liking it, but then there'd just be like points where it just kind of fell back down and it would like have to pick up the momentum again and I'd like start to get excited and they would just like fall again. So like I just kind of came out of it like it was all right like
Yeah,
overall.
yeah, but that's another thing is that I feel like with a lot of films that people watch, they don't give themselves the opportunity to look at it as sort of just being like, it wasn't good, it wasn't bad. Like they're either like, I love it or I hate it. And then they
Yeah.
kind of then try to pick apart the movie to be like, okay, these are all the reasons why I like it. And even if there's like a lot of things that they didn't enjoy because they said they loved it initially, like they have to enjoy it.
Hmm.
That's why I really like going back and watching a movie like a second time because then like well it kind of takes away some of the fun because you know like the twists that are going to happen and things like that, but that also lets you appreciate the way that they build up to it.
Yeah.
Like I've watched Scott Pilgrim versus the World more times than any person should.
Hmm.
I've listened to the director commentary, I listened to all the actors commentaries and everything, and I still find details in that movie that make me love it even more.
Hmm.
Whether it's a simple like nod to previous work by the director Edgar Wright, or little references to games and comics that I've read or played, like when a movie can continue to be just as enjoyable as the first time you watch it on like a second, third, fourth viewing, I consider that a great film.
Yeah.
Because if it's one of those where it's like you can only watch it once and now you know everything and now you can't enjoy it, then like why would I buy the movie? Why would I get it on like DVD and stuff like that? I would watch it once in the theater or on Netflix and then that's it.
Hmm.
But yeah, aside from talking about movies that a lot of people enjoy and will probably get us in hot water, I guess I can kind of talk about stuff that's been going on with me because you mentioned your internship.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I've just been pretty much trying to. Well, one of my big goals for 2019 in general is to just get better with the stuff that I'm doing and not learn more things. Because last year I was trying to learn a bunch of things all together, like different skills, to the point where it became really cluttered and stressful, and I just ended up losing interest in everything. And so this year I'm focusing on getting a lot better with playing guitar and my art and poetry and things like that because I want to be able to produce things that I am proud of and eventually like put it out there so that people can like see it, comment on it and things like that. That's actually one of the big things with this podcast actually because we've always talked about bringing it back and trying to do like just do these episodes again, but I always just felt unmotivated because I just had all these other things I was trying to get better at all at the same time. So, yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much just been my week is just getting back into practicing a lot of things and doing different things. Like, remember how I did that typewriter art during the summer?
Yeah.
Well, okay, just to clarify for anyone who hasn't seen it, I did a self portrait with a typewriter, like making my face and everything using a an old typewriter that my dad had from, I believe, high school. And so I've always wanted to do another piece. So I've been working on two pieces. One of them is just the logo for the skate company Thrasher, and I'm almost done with that. Probably won't make a legitimate post of it. I'll probably just put it on like a story or something for Instagram. And then the other one is actually kind of a secret project, but it has to do with nature. So, yeah, that's about as much as I'll say about that. Oh, man, I just remembered something. Out of all the episodes we've had, we've never talked about New Year's resolutions.
Hmm?
Did you not hear that?
Could you repeat that?
I'll repeat it after I clap so we can remove that.
Wow. I thought we were going unedited.
Jake,
Yeah.
I would love to go unedited if you paid attention.
You're great. Okay. Wait, were we both supposed to clap?
Motherfucker! You're not keeping this in.
Why not?
You are not.
Why not?
Because this is frustrating and this is not content, and we've taken up about 3 minutes with this.
Okay,
or maybe
fine.
less. It just feels like eternity.
Oh no, it's been like 1 minute.
Well, this feels like an eternity when I'm trying to.
Okay, fine.
You can keep it. We'll just make the episode go a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Just like a yeah. But we never talked about New Year's resolutions if you ever made one at all. So like, was there anything you planned for, or are you just kind of like letting life go wherever?
Mostly just kind of wherever. Yeah.
Is it more just like you don't care about that kind of thing? Because I mean, I know at least for me, I think the idea of waiting for a new year to work on yourself is kind of dumb.
Yeah. And yeah, because that,
Go ahead.
like, if you have something you want changed, just change it. I don't think you have to, like, wait for a specific, like, date to do it. You don't have to make it like a, oh, new year, new me. Like, no. If there's something you're not happy with, just change it.
Like January 1st is not a hard reset, and a lot of people try to treat it like that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, at least for me, like I already said, like I want to try to get good at the things that I know how to do now, and also just generally be healthier, which I've been somewhat successful with.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, who knows? Maybe I'll be able to improve my diet enough where I don't like eat like whatever food I made and then feel like I want to die. That'd be pretty nice.
Yeah.
But yeah. There was some stuff going on this week. I remember of did you see anything regarding the Zac Efron Ted Bundy movie?
I don't think so.
Well, there's just like this huge controversy about the film because the way that the trailer portrays like Zac Efron playing Ted Bundy is of trying to make him look like a hero. And like personally for me, like I don't see a problem with the trailer except for the music. If they switched the music to anything else, it would have worked better. And like people wouldn't be up in arms. But because of the music, like that made a lot of people upset. But like the director has gone out of his way to sort of just say like, hey, the reason we chose this and are portraying Ted Bundy like this is because for a lot of people he was the handsome like guy who couldn't do anything wrong, and that's why it was so surprising that he was the serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
And like I don't know, I guess the main thing is that people will jump to be offended by something without looking at the context of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, in the first episode when you said the N word and you had to cut it out, like,
Yeah, I really had to dodge a bullet there.
I love how it originally started as a joke where you're like, Corey, don't actually say that. Like, that's really bad. To just being like, yeah, totally. That's what happened. What's a what was that for?
I'm just waiting for like this thing about me saying the N word is going to like bite me in the ass one day when they're like, "Oh, you see, he said the N word." It's like,
Yeah,
oh no.
on this one episode of the Pixel Venture podcast with less than 50 views, it was said by his co-host Corey Bryant that Jake said the N-word.
And
We
he
do not
said
have the audio for it. However,
they have
he
talked
alluded
about
to it.
editing it out.
Yeah.
Therefore, meaning he wants to hide his racism.
Remember, they made a joke online, which means it's deadly serious.
I mean, look where it got PewDiePie. Yeah, dude.
See, the thing is, though, is that he actually, like, said it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a joke. Okay. For anyone who legitimately thinks that he, like, Jake or I have ever said anything like that, no. I don't know what you do in your personal life, Jake, but I don't say things
At
like
least
that.
not into the microphone.
Is that why you're silent for half of the episodes? You just mute your mic?
Trust me, you can tell I don't mute my mic because I sniffle like every other second. Or
Yeah, I
clear
can
my
hear the
throat.
sound of your I can hear the sound of your like steam engine of a computer chugging along.
Yeah, dude.
It's great.
I
I'm sure
mean,
the audience can hear it too, no matter how many low pass filters we put on it.
welcome to the PC Master Race, one of my favorite subreddits.
Oh, man. Okay. Can we talk a little bit like depending on how long this takes, this might be the rest of the episode, but I want to talk about how stupid the idea of like the console wars is.
Yeah, it's stupid because obviously PC is the best.
Yeah, totally. No.
That's the direction we take it. You're a bunch of idiots.
Why would you buy a PS4 when you could buy a computer setup that'll go out of date within the next year?
I mean, yeah. Like, I like to play that character of, like, the PC Master Race, but, like, I also don't care.
So, Jake, there's a chance that you're going to need to cut some audio there.
Why is that?
My dad barged into my room.
Alright.
So,
I mean, I'll just cut it from your end, it'll be fine.
that'll be the cutoff point. But my main thing is just let people play games.
Yeah.
They're supporting developers by playing on whatever platforms they want and playing whatever games they want. Who cares about graphics or like anything? Like, I see so many people just being like, imagine wanting to play Xbox, and it's like, imagine wanting to play video games. Like, you use what you have, and it doesn't matter what it is. If you have fun with it, who cares? I go back to like my DS Lite, and I play like Bust a Move DS and like a bunch of other games, and I love that thing. And you don't hear, like, that's the thing is that people don't breathe down your neck for like handheld stuff. It's always like the major consoles. It's either PC, PS4, or Xbox One, and people don't even count Switch in the equation because they're like, that's not a legitimate console.
Well, my theory is they don't like to count Nintendo because they always come out with quality stuff, and you can't usually complain about it. Like,
yeah, I mean,
like part of it is like people might be like purists being like, oh, like handheld games aren't, like I don't even know like what to call it. Like they're not hardcore games; they're for the casual fans.
oh man, I hate
like-
that argument so much.
But like I can see the ups about consoles and like what makes them good. Like even though like technically they're also for the PC, like I'll attribute like controllers to consoles, and there are like plenty of
Yeah.
things I like playing with a controller on my computer that like you just wouldn't really have without consoles. Um,
Well, sort of like to go off of that, Xbox recently announced that they're going to be putting like keyboard and mouse compatibility with the consoles, and PlayStation's probably going to follow suit soon. And there's already that support with Switch, at least as far as keyboard goes. So like that's definitely an avenue that's being explored. So it'll eventually get to the point where like their consoles will become sort of, I guess, like dedicated budget computer type things, where it's like for that brand, I guess is the best way I can put it.
yeah,
And like I don't see that as a problem at all. If anything, like it will give console players like the PC advantage as far as control schemes. And if you still want to play with a controller, you got the option. And you can do that with PC too, or Switch or whatever. And people just like to complain for the sake of complaining. That's why I don't go on r/gaming.
I actually like going there because it's not usually a lot of complaining. At this point, it's mostly just a bunch of memes.
The memes aren't funny though.
Some to me they're either funny or I just don't know what game they're from and I just don't care. Like,
Yeah, I
oh,
get that.
Monster Hunter World. What I don't know what that means, but I'm sure it got to the front page somehow.
I think the only one that ever made me laugh was when someone made like one of those reaction things where it was like the main character from Red Dead 2 being really happy that a gun is $5 in the main campaign, and then goes online and it's like 200 something dollars and it's him frowning.
Oh yeah,
Like that one made me legitimately chuckle.
like
But aside
the
from that, it's not.
like the main. I will say like the main thing I don't like about it is whenever that there's like a big game that comes out, expect that for the next like month. Like I remember like when Spider-Man came out for the PlayStation 4, like literally like a number of months were just full of like Spider-Man selfies and that's it.
Yeah.
And
I
then when
mean,
Red Dead
for
came
example,
out, it was just a bunch of
yeah.
Red Dead screenshots and selfies. Like that's all it was.
I guess the bright side is that people are enjoying the games. And that's like a big thing is just like, hey, if you're not enjoying the game, then like it won't get in, like you won't post about it. So like it's it's kind of hard to determine whether or not they're like posting it because oh it's a great game or bandwagon,
Yeah.
because like there's a system on Reddit called Karma, and you can get like up your post upvoted and get more karma, or you can get downvoted and you get less karma. And a lot of people like to pander to that system, where they'll post something controversial or something like, I don't know, just some random thing, and then just use that as bait to try to get karma. And so when a big game comes out like that, you that's why that subreddit and other subreddits get flooded. At least that's my theory. And this is coming from someone who doesn't go on Reddit a whole lot, because the only times that I've really been on it, people screamed at me for having a bad opinion. So, that's nice.
I mean, I don't even like post anything. I just look at
I'm
what like
sorry I'm not a huge fan of future bass music Reddit. Jeez. I can't have my own opinions, I guess. Sorry.
I mean, speaking of opinions on Reddit, one of my favorite things ever that you find a little bit of everywhere on Reddit is when someone says, this might be an unpopular opinion, but, and then literally everybody agrees with them.
Yeah, like at that point you should just be like, I don't think I'm alone when I say this. Cuz like I feel like that's better than saying I think this is an unpopular opinion, because if there is that community behind it that agrees with what you're saying, then it could be like I think a few other people can agree with me when I say this. It makes like whatever argument you say a bit more legitimate, and it doesn't make it feel like you're pandering for like, upvotes. I don't know.
I mean,
I feel
usually,
bad.
usually I just stick to like game specific subreddits. That way it's like more relevant and it's usually more like conversational. It's not just like, oh, look at this like big thing in this one game. It's like, no, like it'll be specific, uh like posts on whatever like the game is up to then.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't go on Reddit too much because it's like out of all of the, 'cause I kind of count Reddit as social media
Yeah.
because comment section, making your post, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Out of all the social media that I have, that's the one that I check the least. I check Pinterest more than that. That's saying something.
Reddit's basically the only one I go on to because besides that and like Twitter, I just don't care for any other social media.
I You already know that I'm done with Twitter. I've been done with Twitter for a while, and
I
it's
know, I
actually
know
been
you
kind of
are.
nice. I don't know. It's been kind of nice because like Twitter, the time that I was on it was just a cesspool for negativity, and it just constantly brought me down. And like the thing is that the accounts that were bringing me down, I unfollowed them, but then you would have other like accounts that I follow who post content that I like retweet the content that I don't, and then it's just like that's kind of also the same thing that I have a problem with Facebook, where like eventually it doesn't become your feed, it becomes everybody else's feed, where
Yeah.
it's like this person likes this person shared that. Like I that's why I actually really enjoy Instagram because I can set notifications on for specific people who I care about, like their posts and things like that. Like, say I wanted to see what Ryan would post, I could just hit the bell, and then anytime he posts, it's there. Or I could set it for like anytime he comments and things like that. And it's a lot easier to manage because it's just pictures and captions, and it's not like 50 other pieces of media.
I mean, like the thing I like about Twitter is the fact that like everything's just kind of short and simple. And so like I feel like it just kind of deters people from like going on to like super long rants about things I don't care about. I can just like scroll past it and it's gone.
Mm, I
Um
see that.
Plus like I don't know. Like it might be like the big or it was like the big thing, but like all of the privacy stuff on Facebook, I'm just kind of like I don't really feel like dealing with that. Like I use Facebook for like school stuff to make it easier with like Facebook Messenger, but like beyond that, like I don't care enough to like put effort into it.
Yeah, I get that. Well, that's the thing is that social media in general, it's not exactly fun to keep up with it. That's the thing is that like it's I know that for like a lot of people I'm friends with when it comes to Instagram posts, they treat it like it's them trying to defuse a bomb. It's like very specific stuff like this picture has to have this and this filter and this pose and like these things in the background, and the caption needs to be very specific. Like for me with my posts, I just kind of throw a picture that I take that I like on there, and then I write some stupid thing. Like it could be a quote from SpongeBob or just me complaining about not having chai tea for a while. And like it works. Because that's another thing is that people are, especially this day and age, are desperate to try to hit it big and get like I don't like the fact that influencer is a legitimate like thing.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like I again not going to say that there's no effort that goes into it. I know there's so much business aspects, like things that go into it as far as brand deals and getting specific posts and posting at like the right time and things like that. But like having it be where it's like your job to create a fantasized version of your life in order to get more people to feel bad about their own lives that they're doing something wrong that they need to get whatever you're selling. I really don't like that.
Uh, who are you attributing this to? Like what? Like social media?
Uh, this this is something that's like a big thing on Instagram, where like you have people with where they like take a picture of themselves and they have like some product in their hand, and then they go on into the description and they're just like, this has changed my life and I'm so much happier now. And then you look at their account and like, I try to make my account not seem like a cookie cutter like representation of my life, because there's a lot of people who only post like very specific stuff to keep with a theme or keep with a brand and that kind of thing. And I'm not saying that you can't do that. Like, if that's the hustle, go for it. But you can see everybody, or at least like a lot of people on the platform nowadays, like who aren't just posting it for like their family and their friends and things like that. They're trying to get deals. They're trying to get more brand recognition. They're trying to get like themselves onto a pedestal so that they can eventually make money by just posting pictures of themselves in front of like a bunch of like expensive looking things to make it look like they are living like this lavish life when it's not like that in reality, because that's just how the world is.
I mean, like, part of how I've kind of seen social media, and, like, part of why I tend to, like, stay away from it is, like, when people do that, like, obviously people are going to put, like, their best foot forward and, like, make themselves look like the greatest they can.
True.
Because, like, that's what gets, like, known. And, like, that's what people get interested in. Like, you know, obviously they're going to want to see, like, a pretty picture of someone and not like an ugly just woke up picture.
I don't know. A JPEG image of an egg got a lot of likes.
That falls under memes, and that's a different thing. But like people do that so that they look like they have themselves together, but then they usually like don't actually have themselves together. And I feel like this could get very like philosophical real quick. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
there's just a lot of like smoke and mirrors going on, where like people aren't really being like truthful, trying to make themselves appear better than they actually are. And it's just like I don't really care.
I feel like a lot of we're going to cut that because apparently now everybody's yelling outside of my door. Sorry.
Nice.
It's not. But I feel like, because, you know, I go onto Instagram and like put this up in my story and like Snapchat and stuff. I feel like people might think I'm trying to like call out anything. No, absolutely not. Do whatever makes you happy. That's the main thing, I guess, from this podcast, where it's like, sure, there's movies that we don't like, but you can like them. There's things that I don't enjoy. There's things that Jake don't enjoy. People can. Why are people throwing shit outside of my room? Literally. Oh my god.
Yeah, now I can hear it.
I'm pissed.
It'll be fine.
I'm gonna redo that. I guess the main thing with this podcast is, like, just because Jake and I don't enjoy some things, because this has been actually a really negative episode now that I look back at it, because we talked about movies that we aren't huge fans of, like, we talked about, like, stuff with social media and Reddit and things like that. I mean, it's good that you brought up your internship and I talked about like improving myself and stuff, but I feel like this was like a negative episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
Regardless, if anything we mentioned like you enjoy or you have different opinions from us, like that's rad. Like, don't feel like you can't. I told them I was recording.
Korey, it's gonna be fine.
I'm fine. I'm just a little annoyed. But here.
I mean, I think this podcast is gonna be like I think this is a good place to have like conversations, you know? Yeah. Like, we don't just have to like push whatever the popular opinion is. Like, if someone disagrees, then they can disagree, and you know? That's
Yeah.
them, and we're us.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess the main thing that because we could rant about things that we don't like, we rant about things that we like, but there's one idea that I had for this episode where in the comments below and on the post that I'm going to be making on Instagram, which is at kbryant685 on my story, I want people to submit subjects that we could possibly cover in like a segment and just have like a grab bag of a bunch of different random topics and just select one at random. So if you have any ideas, put them in the comments or send them to me through the poll. It'll be up for 24 hours once this episode is aired. So definitely, if you're interested in hearing anything different and stuff like that, feel free to send it our way.
Should we give them more than 24 hours?
Well, the only reason I say 24 hours is that that's the length of time that a story is up.
Oh. Alright.
So if you put it through the story, it'll be 24 hours, but within the week before the episode is posted, if you leave a comment, we could probably cover it. So, yeah, is there anything else you'd like to talk about today?
I mean, that basically covers everything, as far as I'm concerned. Was there anything else that happened to you this week?
Um, Honestly, not really. I'm pretty much talked about everything. So, yeah. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Pixel Adventure podcast. My name is Korey,
And I've been Jake.
and thanks for listening.
See you.